Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another round of sound. This is the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. I'm Bob Pompeani. As always, we have a lot to get into, including the Penguins, who this week lost 3 games despite having a 99% chance of winning all 3 in the game's final moments. We'll get into that, but the #1 topic tonight on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown will be the Steelers and the Dolphins Monday Night Football, and TJ Watt won't be part of it. Here to discuss is your panel tonight. We have Mr. Ray Fittipaldo from the Post-Gazette. In the middle is Mike DeCourcy from the Sporting News and Brian Batko from the PG as well. Let's get right into this, and Ray, I'll start with you. This is on a Wednesday. There was no actual practice. TJ Watt's in the facility, and what happened?
Well, he underwent something called dry needling, and just to put it bluntly, there was a mistake and his lung was punctured. Now, the good news is TJ is not going to be out for the entire season. I cannot tell you if he'll be back next week in Detroit, but this is not a season-ending injury. And, Bob, I just think it speaks to what these guys go through Monday through Sunday to get themselves ready to play in these football games. It's a war every single week. And until something like this happens or something similar happens, we kind of forget this is the way it is. These guys go through a lot to play in these games.
But I just want to be clear. The difference is normally stuff like this doesn't happen in a team facility. We have seen guys go in their hyperbolic chambers. We've seen them do stuff on acupuncture on their own.
Correct.
Was the team normally okay with that sort of stuff?
If it's happening inside the team facility, it's sanctioned by the team, and I think a team employee, I don't know this 100% certain, but a team employee would be administering that treatment if it is at the facility. So this does seem like it's something the Steelers were aware of.
What a shame that something like this would come up, but circumstances happen in medical treatment sometimes that are not the result of the intention. And I feel bad for TJ because obviously he goes through, as every NFL player does. We read the stories about Jerome Bettis back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
And what it was like for him to get out of bed. Like he didn't get out of bed till Tuesday, that sort of thing. And so it is, you watched NFL games today and guys were going down over and over and over again because I think in addition to the brutality of the game, weather conditions were playing a part and really making it more difficult. So I respect TJ tremendously. I respect all the professional football players for what they do for our entertainment.
I'm sure the Steelers want this whole thing to go away as quickly as possible. There's 2 reasons to want TJ Watt back on the field. 1, so he can help your defense, sack quarterbacks, set the edge against the run, and 2, so that people will stop asking questions about what exactly happened here, because maybe these things do happen more than we realize, but unfortunately, it's a business. If it goes down with a 3rd-string defensive lineman, maybe you don't hear about it. But the only time that I can remember this being so public is Tyrod Taylor from the Chargers 5 years ago, which set the stage for Justin Herbert to get an unexpected start. Now, that was a pregame shot where someone screwed up, and he eventually sued that team doctor. So, I mean, I do wonder, guys, will this become a TJ Watt versus the Steelers issue at some point?
Because the NFLPA will be involved.
Not only that, but who put out the latest information on that? It wasn't the team. It was his older brother, J.J. Watt, who sort of laid out a little bit more clearly what transpired while all the national talking heads were sort of speculating and the team was keeping things relatively under wraps as they're wont to do.
Well, that's one of those things we'll have to wait and see, but he won't be available, which leads us, Ray, into the matchup. He's not going to be there. This is a team, Miami, that has reinvented themselves. They run the ball more than they ever have with success. They've won 4 in a row. Who compensates for that loss?
I think they are better situated this season to handle something like this than they have been in quite some time. Nick Herbig is a starter in waiting. I think we all know he's going to be a starter eventually in the NFL starting next season. We just don't know if it's going to be for the Steelers yet. And you add in rookie Jack Sawyer, who is 6'5", 265, 270 pounds. He is perfect for this type of a matchup against the Dolphins. Now, they're going to be a little bit thin. They might have to call up DeMarvin Leal from the practice squad to have a 4th outside linebacker. But Highsmith, Herbig, and Sawyer are going to play a lot of snaps. And I think those guys are going to be okay. We'll see if Devon Etienne can do what he's been doing, but I think they're deeper at outside linebacker than they have been for quite some time.
Well, the stat that exists out there, 1-10 or 1-11 without TJ, right away was circulated, and I understand that, but it's not the same. It's not, honestly, as much as I was complimentary before about him as a football player, it's not the same TJ as he was during that run of 1-11. I mean, he's been very good, don't get me wrong, but it's not quite the same guy that was out there getting 20 sacks a year. And as well, they are not as thin at that position, as he mentioned. They're much deeper at that spot. So look, if they don't stop Etienne, it won't just be because TJ's not playing. There will be a lot of other components that are added to it. And it starts with Derek Harmon. I mean, his availability is the only one that's really in question for Monday night among all the players who were on the injury list. We know either they're out or they're in, except for Derek.
Yeah, I mean, to Mike's point, this isn't TJ Watt at the height of his powers anymore like it was in 2022 when he missed that spate of games and the Steelers really struggled. But, you know, to kind of revisit what Ray was talking about there with Herbig and Sawyer being ready to step up, I think that's generally true. But TJ, even if he doesn't have the same juice screaming off the edge and getting to the quarterback, I still think he's been really stout against the run, and he's going to do his job. He's going to get his assignment done. It's tough to single block him when you're trying to run to that side. The Bills did, but they did it with all sorts of schematics and putting cornerbacks in conflict there. So I will be curious to see if Herbig, who's not the biggest outside linebacker, can hold up. If a Mike McDaniel offense wants to target him and attack him that way in the game plan. And while Sawyer's a bigger guy, he's still a rookie who hasn't really been through these battles just yet.
And I think that's a great point, because you would always have to account for TJ Watt somehow, some way. Without him being there, that may free up some other things. All right, real quick, I want to ask you and go down the horn here about this game, because Miami has run the ball crazy numbers now, especially with Achane. Yeah. The Steelers have given up ridiculous amounts of yards. Is it as simple as they're going to run, can the Steelers stop them, or do you think Miami may decide to go against that a little bit and throw the ball more than they have with Tua, who's thrown a lot of interceptions this year?
Well, they might, but they were 1-6 for a reason. The ball was in Tua's hands more early in the season, and they kind of got to this running game, which has kind of ignited their winning streak. So to me, they're going to want to run the ball. The Steelers smash the run, put Tua in positions where he has to win the game. He has never won a game when it's been below 40 degrees. It's supposed to be 15 or 16 to kick off.
Wind chill was lower than that.
Yeah, we're way below 40 Monday night. I think that part of it as well is how the Steelers decide to play it, and also the Harmon factor. I mean, we talked about those either-or stats. Well, how the one with him, basically, give or take 95 yards a game rushing for opposition when he is in the game, 195, give or take, when he is in the game. That's 100 yards difference. That's a full football field. That's a lot of game time, and it's probably a lot of points as well. So if Derek Harmon plays, that makes a big difference in stopping the run, and then Tua more often will have to be a factor in that game.
I thought it was interesting, the Dolphins posting on social media that they were out at Robert Morris practicing last night in the snow, guys yucking it up, throwing it up there. So they're really leaning into it and trying to overcome this boogeyman of the cold weather for them, as it always is for a team coming from the West Coast or South Florida. But I do think it's a challenge. I do think it's going to be an ugly game. If you go by Pro Football Reference, the Steelers are second in the league in missed tackles. The Dolphins are first in missed tackles, tackles broken per attempt. So they need to wrap up. That's one thing about TJ. He doesn't really miss tackles, so those replacement guys are going to have to be on it.
How twisted am I that as I was driving down here, I was thinking, should they have let them practice there, or should they maybe made them practice in somebody's backyard, or park it, do it in the street?
The Steelers, when they go on the road, sometimes will do that.
Yes.
Well, I'm sure there's a nice chunk of change in it for whoever was going to let them practice there.
They're not going to show up on their own. They're going to have to pay them. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about the Ravens. They won today, and what's left of this NFL schedule, and who has an advantage to do these guys think as they go down the stretch here. Very interesting stuff, and some NFL news at large, all coming up next right here on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. All right, welcome back. We continue right here with the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown, talking about the AFC North. And Brian, I want to start with you. Is it safe to say that the least flawed team will end up winning this division? Because of all the divisions you see, this one is like the ugliest.
I don't even know if I would say the least flawed team. I think it's more of just the one who can handle business down the stretch here. And the Steelers they should be that team, because the Dolphins, while they're hot right now, we just discussed in the last segment the reasons why they should be able to take down Miami and Tua under center there. They still get the Browns again, whereas the Ravens, they took care of business today against the Bengals, so you give them credit for that, going to Cincy and avenging that horrible Thanksgiving night loss that will loom over the rest of their season if they don't make it in. But Patriots, Packers, and Steelers to close it out is very, very difficult for the Ravens. So things seem like they're breaking just right for the Steelers to me, even if they might be more flawed than the Ravens when they're healthy.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that Cincinnati was just abysmal today. I mean, they got the Ravens off the field on the first 3 drives, and you think, okay, that should open the door for Burrow to be hitting Chase. And they decided to try to prove that they were the 2005 Steelers and handed the ball off over and over and over again. And as a result, put up a goose egg. So the Steelers didn't get much satisfaction, help from that game, but the schedule does favor the Steelers. Of course, they need to maintain control of the division starting Monday night with the Miami game. They can't give it back. They can't be going back and forth. They have to take advantage. One of the things that we didn't mention about Miami is the fact that this winning streak they're on. Now, it started with an unbelievable performance against Buffalo. But subsequent to that, much as the Ravens' turnaround was built on playing poor teams and beating them, that's also true of the Dolphins.
You know, sometimes you worry about these late season games and what do the other teams have to play for? Well, the Patriots all of a sudden are playing for first place in their division.
Right.
And then the next week, the Packers also likely playing for first place. And who knows, maybe the number 1 seed is involved too. So that's going to be a hard thing for the Ravens to get through. I've been saying this all along. As long as the Steelers go 2-2, and one of those final wins is against the Ravens, they're in. So that's all they have to do to win the division.
But I would also say the Steelers having to go to Detroit now, they're going to be awfully motivated, right? They lost today, and I don't know where their situation is, but they need to get into the playoffs. And right now they're on the outside looking in, so they'll be. And Cleveland's always one of those games that I don't know what to think of, you know. So, Brian, when you look at this, just talk to me about how the Steelers can continually win games when they're out-snapped. They have not out-snapped a team all year, and that was reflective last week in Baltimore when they were outrushed by 170 yards and still somehow won the game.
Splash plays, takeaways, turnovers. I mean, that is what they're built on. That's been debated a lot by both people like us, former players. Ben Roethlisberger and James Harrison have kind of criticized the reliance on that from the Steelers and sort of from the top down with Mike Tomlin. And say what you will about TJ and not having the year that he's accustomed to having and probably not playing worth $40 million a year, but he's still that guy for them. That is still his biggest strength. He's still the main guy that you expect will come away with a strip sack, find a way to turn the game on its head for you, even when you're not outplaying your opponent. He's done that earlier this year. That Colts game, he shifted the momentum of it. The Bears game, he did everything he could, really, with that early strip sack of Caleb Williams, and they just couldn't get a stop after that. So the big thing, though, to do today, too, in the NFL, the witch is dead, guys. The Chiefs. They are officially
They're done. No more Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
I will
goodness
finally,
for that. Christmas could go on.
Now I will finally say I will pick someone else to win the AFC. They're like a movie villain. I don't really believe they're dead until they're shoveling the dirt on them.
Mahomes is out for the year. Not that it matters now for them. You hope he's okay. But, man, you wouldn't expect that 3 weeks left in the season, right? I mean, everybody thought Kansas City would be there.
One of the things that is underrated about the Steelers is how much they don't hurt themselves. I mean, I know sometimes that frustrates fans or analysts about the fact that they don't take risks, but when they don't turn the ball over, they're 5-0. They have not lost a game in which they didn't turn the ball over. So that's an important component as well, especially as the weather turns difficult. I mean, the Detroit game's going to be an indoor game, but Monday night here in Pittsburgh, it's going to be brutal, and there may be some subsequent down the line that are going to be difficult in that way.
Yeah, listen, no one's going to be picking the Steelers if they do get into the playoffs. But you can make an argument, and look what happened today with Buffalo going into New England and winning, that these wild card teams are going to have as good a shot as anyone of making it to the Super Bowl. So the Bills have done it before, way back in the early 90s. They got there from the wild card. There's been many teams. The Steelers did it in 2005. This could be a year where a wild card team goes all the way to the Super Bowl.
Which leads to this question now, Brian. Right now, the 3 wild card teams are the Chargers at 10-4, the Bills at 10-4, and they still go in the division, or Houston 9-5. Of these, which are the best matchup, do you think? Because I think none of them would be a good matchup, but especially to me, Josh Allen. You saw what he did today. Yeah. I would not want to be involved in them in a postseason game.
Yeah, Bob, I was going to say, they feel more like the Chiefs to me now. Now that the Chiefs are completely out of the picture, the Bills are giving me those Kansas City vibes where they're down 21-0. Josh Allen's throwing guys who can't haul the ball in, and yet he still finds a way each and every week. So no, especially after what happened a couple weeks ago, I would not want to see Buffalo come in here for that wild card game. Houston's defense probably travels, but the Chargers have Herbert. So to me, it's a coin flip between the Chargers and the Texans. Both are coming from climates where they're not really used to playing in this weather. But I'll say this much: I think these games now, like Mike was saying with the weather turning, this is sort of what you bring Aaron Rodgers in for. As long as he holds up physically, he's been in these big, tight games. He's going to just make one throw here or there that you need to get you over the hump.
Yeah, I would prefer and again, I am not saying that they're going to make it. I realize it's a long road, but if there were a game, I think it would be best against the Chargers because the Chargers' offensive line remains problematic.
Shambles, right?
Yeah, so that would be the difference.
Good point.
Give me the Chargers too, even though they're the 5 seed now. I think they are worse than the Texans and the Bills.
Yeah, I think that's interesting, and that's how it's going to play out the rest of the season. It's going to be, as the NFL wants, very highly watched games at the end of the year, and they got one coming up tomorrow night with the Steelers and the Dolphins. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Penguins and their struggles and how they can possibly lose points the way they're losing points. Plus, they made a big trade this week. It's all next right here on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. All right, we're talking Penguins now in this segment, and the Penguins started the week by losing a game with 1/10 of a second left, forced overtime, 99% win chance at that one. And then they followed up yesterday by doing the same thing, 5-1 lead, vanished. And then today, 3-0 lead, third period, gone again. All 99+ percentage chance of winning, Mike DeCourcy. So I don't know what this is now. Is this coaching? Is this players? Is this now they're just completely psyched out because confidence obviously plays a role?
Yes, it's all of that. There are so many components to this. There were coaching decisions made, especially in Saturday's game, where they were leaving guys out for shifts longer than they needed to, especially protecting a significant lead. The coaching in the overtime, not starting Sid in the overtime period and starting Kindle. Look, I really respect what Kindle's doing. He's an amazing rookie. But that's what you want to put this streak on, and he turns the puck over, and all of a sudden, here comes Utah down the highway for a goal. Those things are on the coach, but the players are allowing this to get into their heads. There's no question about it. And when it happens, like today, they did a nice job fighting back, but I don't think there was a lot of confidence in that building that they were going to win it in OT.
Oh, I was there. The Boo Birds were out, right? They were. It's unusual to see this many collapses.
If you're a good hockey team, you don't have 3 games like that all season. They had 3 games like that in a row. So I understand they got off to a good start. There was some excitement there. You know, Sid's been playing well. But when you get down to it, Bob, their defense core has really let them down in these games. Their goaltending has let them down in these games. It's really the same old story that we've had from previous years. You've got the stars who are going to carry you, but they're only going to carry you to a certain point.
Yeah, rough optics for Dan Muse, obviously, when you're presiding over a stretch like this in your first season. I still kind of look at it more so from the big picture for this team and more so for this franchise. You're seeing good moments out of young guys like Kindle and Murashov. Maybe you sort of hand wave some of the mistakes that are inevitable for rookies. It's more so about the highs right now and to build around these guys than the lows. But like Ray said, the great start that they had to this season, you move the goalposts a little bit, to use a football analogy. Then losses like this become much more of a gut punch. They hurt more when you're actually in the mix.
Here's the thing about them. In all these games, they've been the better team until the end. Until the third period, and it all changed. So the trade was made. Have about a minute left. Mike, I want to ask you and all three of you guys about Jari. They got rid of the contract. He moves on to Edmonton. They'll be here on Tuesday night. Skinner will be, you would think, here on Tuesday as a new goaltender, and they got a defenseman plus a second-round pick. Good deal, bad deal? How do you like it?
It becomes a good deal if they use the money that they got back out of that contract to go out and pursue more assets in advance of the trade deadline. What difference does it make to me? Like, because Jari was overpaid relative to his performance in the past, but he was playing like a $5 million a year goalie this year, so it doesn't do anything for me as an observer that all of a sudden, they got like $3.5 million back or whatever it is. I want to see them put that into the team on the ice to help them win this year.
Yeah, I agree. As long as Fenway spends to the cap and they use that money to try to better the team, I am good with it. For the Penguins, they have to find a way to get better goaltending. They've been trying 3 different guys, and that's something that they got to get straightened out here down the stretch.
Yeah, I think it was a win for them. I mean, they were too far down the road. There's no putting the toothpaste back in the tube with Jari. Get something for him, and I commend Kyle Dubas.
Yeah, plus a second-round pick down the road. You never know. By then, Edmonton may be bad, and you can get a really good pick out of that. May not be Fenway Sports anymore. Who knows? I hear that deal is moving closer to get done. We'll see what happens with that when we come back. Why would a 44-year-old want to go back after 5 years of not playing and return to the NFL? We'll talk about it next. Number one, Cochran is making spirits bright with their best savings of 2025 during the year-end wrap-up. You can get thousands off MSRP on select new models. You're going to find super low lease payments and take advantage of one of the most attractive finance rates around. Plus, with 20 new car brands, Number one Cochran has a vehicle for every budget, every lifestyle. Hurry in. It's the year-end wrap-out now at Number one Cochran locations and Cochran.com. All right, so Ray, 44 years old, sitting on a couch, 5 years removed from the game. What would prompt Phillip Rivers to come back? And he almost won a game today.
He did. I don't know, Bob, but I think it's great theater. I hope the Colts win out and they come to Pittsburgh, 44-year-old Phillip Rivers, 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers in a playoff game at Acrisure. That's what I want to see.
All I know
Icy
is
hot. That'll be the sponsor.
all I know is Ben's got to be sitting there looking at his phone saying, hey, I'm the same age as that guy. Why aren't they calling me?
Yeah, I mean, Rivers did almost win it today. I'll tell you this, the last 3 games, he played in Seattle today, the last 3 games for the Colts are in domes, so it's a good offense, good scheme, be playing inside. He had a better game than Kenny Pickett today, I hate to say.
Boy, did he. I felt bad for Kenny Pickett. All right, we'll be back with more right after this on the Number one Cochran Sports Showdown. All right, Miami, Pittsburgh, who wins, Brian?
I think it'll be a slugfest, but I'll go Steelers 15, Dolphins 13.
When I pick the Steelers to win, they always lose, so I'm going to pick the Dolphins.
Steelers by 4, and they cover.
And they cover. You heard it here first on the Number one Cochran Sports Showdown. Good night, everyone. We'll see you next week.